Internet. It's me, the Natural One, back here again with my old guest and friend. Girlfriends are friends. At least I'd hope they're friends. Anyway, we're here to talk to you about world building. Let's talk about that. Caitlin, as you already know, has been beginning her journey as a DM. You know, lots of troubles and problems and, you know, all the normal stuff. I was very privileged to be allowed to do a one-on-one campaign with her for a very short time in her new world. And as I was playing it, complaints that a few of my friends give, like, when I ask them, why don't you DM? And they usually go, oh, but building a world is so hard, I don't know where to begin. I don't want to spend all that time and effort building gods and worlds and countries and blah, 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 blah. As I was playing through her story, I started to see that she really managed to...
I found a cheat sheet, basically.
Exactly. A very sneaky and cheaty way to get around a lot of the problems that most early DMs find intimidating. Caitlin, would you mind giving them a quick rundown of your world?
Okay, well, before I do that, I need to give you some context and some background information because it will make more sense. In the fall of 2018, because it was this past fall, I was enrolled in a mythology class. So it talked a lot about the Greeks, the Romans, primarily focused on the Greeks. However, we did talk about a couple of Roman mythologies that coexisted or were the exact same as the Greek mythologies, but the names were slightly different and stuff like that. Because if you look at them, this is a quick brief history on it, the Romans kind of stole a lot from the Greeks. That's why a lot of their myths are similar. I kind of really fell in love with the idea of the mythologies and bringing it to life because, I mean, I'm a big Percy Jackson fan and that's what got me so into mythologies. And don't give me that look.
It's a weird book series.
You don't understand. You're still reading it. Kind of like what Rick Riordan did, where he created this world that was based on the Greek mythologies. I did something similar. However, my idea was, what if the ancient Greeks played D&D? With me so far? Cool. So what I did was, I basically took the land and the way that the world was for the ancient Greeks, and that's how I created my world. And I took the ancient pantheon, and I looked up a lot of the mythologies again, and I've based my world around the mythologies and the histories that I've learned in my mythology class that I kind of learned from some of my friends who took an ancient Greek and Roman class as well at the same semester. So it was quite interesting, and that was the cheat sheet that I figured out. Take an existing mythology-based world or an existing world from history, and then just throwing in...
A few of your own twists, your own legends, your own lore. Basically, if there's any major stories that you want to be having, implement them. Mythology you usually find is actually quite vague. There's quite a few tales about simply Pan, even the tales of how Dionysus came to be. There's things that are fuzzy in those histories, so you can easily add in your own twist or own push into it.
Yep.
I mean, if you need a god system,
just take an existing one and then maybe tweak it a little with some of the information that doesn't exist anymore or is missing or is a bit on the sketchy side.
There may be some players out there that might think, oh, this is lazy.
Not exactly. You have to do a lot of research and do exactly the same amount of work that you would do to create an original world. Actually, when I was comparing notes with Michael afterwards, all the work that I did was about the same amount of work that he did when he created his original world for the one-on-ones that we did.
And as you start going further and further into the world, usually what we see is that it develops quite a bit. You start to diverge farther and farther from the original source material.
Basically, all you have to use it as is a foundation. It's just a starting point. You don't have to stick with it.
I think that's the beauty of it. So many people get hung up as it can be monumental task of building a world that they just go away from it entirely. And more often than not, what I find is that you end up building your world as your players adventure through it.
Because they're gonna change in everything, the way you built it to the way you wanted it, and then you throw in the players, they're just gonna crumple it all apart. That's like one side of the spectrum. The other side of the spectrum is they do exactly what you want and then you get your way, but where's the fun in that?
That's also the number one thing as well that we usually find is even Matthew Mercer admits himself that he really never plans adventures more than one episode in advance. Usually what he finds, the biggest things that he implements into the next episode are caused by the actions of the previous episode. If you actually notice, he actually has a notepad and he's constantly taking notes at what the players are doing. Just by doing this, we've shaved off hours of caffeinated writing and listening to bad music to try and think of something creative. And Not to mention
to bad music when you create your world.
I mean, come on. When you're first trying to create like your own world, you're trying to figure out what is good fantasy music and what isn't. There's a lot of bad fantasy music.
That makes more sense.
Yes.
I thought you were just like purposely finding like the worst songs ever and hoping you get inspiration from that.
No, honestly, I spend a good half hour just filtering through bad music to try and figure out something that can inspire me and figure out my world. There's another really nice major advantage of these worlds is that you already have adventures that are already laid out for you quite well.
Like you have the storyline of Hercules, you have the storyline of the Argonauts, you have the storyline of Perseus even, or you have storylines that are based on the gods' origins, so like stories of how Dionysus came to be. You have stories of how Zeus came into power and how he is the king of the pantheon. You have all sorts of storylines that you can play with that exist in these mythologies, and you can twist them to work the way you want them to work instead of using maybe the original story. So maybe using the original story as like a skeleton.
Locations, places, cultures are already laid out for you. You don't need to make your next adventure take place in ancient Greece or Rome.
No. It was just an example, and that's what I've been doing because it was easiest for me and was something that I was really interested in.
But these are nice little adventures you can have in the Bronze Age, because let's face it, how many times have you actually done that? I honestly hadn't played one until Caitlin came around and showed me it. And honestly, I want to try some more ones. What about in ancient Norse mythology? How about an adventure in ancient Egypt? Or
Ooh, that was actually going to be one of my other campaigns that I was thinking about doing.
Or maybe ancient Persia, China, or Aztecs even.
The possibilities are endless. There's so many
yeah.
different cultures and mythology-based worlds that you can still interact with. You can even mix and match them.
Yeah, those are some nice DMing tips. So with this knowledge, go forth, make a few new worlds. If you're a new DM, try it out. It doesn't need to go on forever. Try a few sessions in it. If your players like it, great. If they don't, well, maybe you can try a different mythology. It's so easy. There's one more thing before the video ends. We have a Discord. Linked down below if you are interested, if you want to help recommend some new videos, if you want to
just chat, share some DMing memes or
your art.
Anything. Lots of people are sharing their art.
Oh my god, these days. And we need some more voices out there. My name is Michael.
I'm Caitlin.
And I hope to be seeing you in the next video. Have a good day.
Bye.